how do you shift as you pivot, right? And sometimes you pivot your way into the next opportunity, which is bigger than the previous one you used to have.
Yeah.
How do you then prepare yourself mindset-wise to then be able to be at the right mindset to be able to do what you want to do? It's one thing to pivot into the next opportunity. It's another to handle it. You know, sometimes we talk about the fact that you need to handle struggle, right? Handle it, right?
Yeah.
But we don't realize how much sometimes you need to be able to handle success.
The other side of it. Oh, yeah. And I would argue that it's actually worse on the other side. I would argue that.
Why would you give that argument so confidently?
You know, when you've got nothing, there's no expectation. You've got nothing to manage. It's just there. It is. When you've got nothing, you've got nothing. There's nothing to manage. The moment you have, then now suddenly you have got a lot to lose. That's the way the problem comes in. Now, when your mindset changes, I've got a lot to lose. It's suddenly different to I've got nothing.
Like a guy who was taking taxis, all he worried about was taxi man.
That's it.
Now he's got a car.
What comes with that? So when I sit there, and it's a constant conversation we have. When I sit there and people would then look at you and say, "Hey, I wish I was witness.
True.
I wish I no." And
I don't wish to be me too.
And remember, and you know what I say to people, and I said the obsession that. And I'm an avid speaker, and people forgive me for that of black people because I say that's what I know.
Yeah,
and I can only
it's your reality.
It's my reality, and I say that the challenge that I find constantly with our people is that they are obsessed with the finished product, but never the process. No one ever asks you to, how did you get there? Tell me your story. No one ever asks you that, and says, witness, tell me your story. I know you give it away in snippets here and there, but no one ever sit you down and say what everybody says. Witness. Injaya game. See, and everybody's obsessed with that. Yeah. Everybody's obsessed with the finished product, but no one wants to know how you got there, and that's where part of the challenge for me over the last couple of years. I've been obsessed with the process. I've been obsessed with the process. So that's what prepares me to be ready for the next opportunity that comes. You know, so that's why it's a process. It's a process game that I constantly have, that I'm constantly looking at and say, hey guys. And coupled with that, it's a lot of knowledge. I consume a lot of knowledge.
And you've been able to now fine-tune your property investing strategy from being a buyer
definitely
to being an investor. But not only that, to being an investor that focuses on cash flow, more particularly in multi-lets.
Yeah.
Right? What has been the process in terms of how you did things before and how you do things now that channeled you towards multi-lets?
Yeah. Just
you buy money.
I've never thought about that. No, I think just the same as most people when I first joined SEP and I went there, I think, in my mind I had this grand idea of this is what I want to do. And then I went into one of the workshops and then boom, reality hits you. Right? When there's town planning, there's this and this, then then suddenly the reality hits you. Right? So it's not as easy. So the mindset then was that everything is simple.
Sure.
It's simple. That I had a very simplistic type of mindset of, it's... And then when you get to the reality of it, of saying, yeah, it might be simple if I'm buying here and there, but is it really effective?
Is the management part? Because, one of the things you mentioned about people just looking at the end result, but not looking at the process, is the fact that with each property, even if you are doing the wrong strategy, there's a certain level of management capacity you need to have. There's a difference between managing one tenant and managing 10.
Yeah.
There's a difference between managing 10 and managing 50.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's a difference between managing 50 and managing 500.
Oh, yeah.
At each level of growth and at each level of capacity, there has to be a certain level of mindset and ability that you need to cultivate. So what do you think being in property is doing to you, and being in business is doing to you in terms of you becoming an effective steward? you're Christian, so I can use.
Yeah.
Remember, I told you, I asked you and your wife, I said, are you guys Christian?
I was like,
and I said, I can hear the Christianese language
the lingo,
is there.
So just ask the question so that I understand it.
What has that done for you to become an effective steward? Your entrepreneurial journey, your journey in rugby, your journey in property, your journey as a father.
I think it's one of those where you realize you can't do it alone. I think that's one of the biggest things that, in terms of you can't do it alone. And that there's only so much that 24 hours can buy you. There's only so much that my own capabilities can do. In the beginning, like you said, I had all these properties. I was managing them. I was checking up on the tenants. Hey, light bulb, you go in there. And you start realizing that is not how you leverage. Now, a new word came into my life, leverage. Leverage came into my life. Yeah. So
the language is changing.
The language is changing now. And is leverage. What's leveraging now? Now you're looking at leverage and go, okay, now you need to start looking at leverage and say, how do I leverage myself from this? So those are all the lessons that came into the, like you say, now I was managing myself. But why should I be doing this all the time? What can I put my energy into that will produce more and more and more, instead of just having me trying to do everything and owning. Remember, it's still a mindset issue that I'm still fighting at the back of my mind, me wanting to own everything and wanting to do everything. And that absolutely changed my mind. Hey, you cannot do it yourself. So surround yourself with people. Surround yourself with a team. Surround yourself with the type of people that you have. That's very important. Surround yourself with the right type of people, and then that will elevate you and elevate your business and elevate the properties that you have.
And when you look at the kinds of people that you've brought into your circle, you talked about a coach. You talked about a mentor.
A mentor, yeah.
Right? How did that catapult your career in business and your career in property?
It's 100-fold.
100-fold?
You can say 100-fold.
Sure, get into that.
100-fold. So from a property perspective, it was suddenly you get asked the right questions, you interrogate what you have. And that has allowed me literally from 2023 to where we are now, Investor of the Year. In that 1 year, that's how much it has done. It has allowed me to build up a massive portfolio.
Did you convert some of the things that you were buying into now multi-let?
So, for example, one of the reasons why I got nominated was because of my own property that I did. It was my own house, and we wanted to move. You know how it is. You want to move to a safer place. You know how it is.
Just say it. You're moving to the estate.
You know how it is. So you want to move there, and then it's a transition. So you are sitting with what you. So one of the things you are sitting with what do you do there? This guy's not making. I'm humble, and it's worse if I have to say that I'm humble.
Let me tell you, Alec. No humble person is going to say, I'm humble. We must tell him.
No, never. Mamaka, we say, no one's going to tell you, my son.
You must tell yourself.
Of course. My mother-in-law used to say that. My mother-in-law is, that's right.
You're humble.